So, Bryan Johnson, you've probably seen the headlines, right? The tech billionaire who's spending millions a year trying to reverse his own age. But honestly, behind all the plasma transfusions and the hundreds of daily measurements, there's this really radical philosophy that has almost nothing to do with vanity. Today, we're going to decode the core ideas behind his whole controversial protocol.
And it all kind of starts with this number, 3 hours and 49 minutes. What in the world could that possibly be? Well, it's a world record, but probably not for what you're thinking. That number? That's Bryan Johnson's new personal best for the total time he has erections during the night. And hey, before you click away, he argues this isn't about bragging. It's actually one of the most important biomarkers of your overall health you could possibly track.
To put that number into perspective, Johnson's duration completely blows past that of an elite 18-year-old in peak physical condition. They typically clock in around 2 hours and 45 minutes. So, you see, this isn't just a random number. It's hard data showing his biological systems are humming along at a level that's actually beyond the typical human peak.
Johnson himself calls it the canary in the coal mine. And why is that? Well, because you just can't fake it. It's an aggregate indicator. Your nightly erections depend on your sleep quality, your metabolic health, your cardiovascular function, and your hormones. If any of those things are off, this is one of the first systems to just shut down. As he says, you can't just hit the gym and work on this specific function. It's a pure, honest signal of your body's overall state.
Okay, so why on earth would he make this public? Well, it's all part of a much bigger strategy. See, this isn't just about health, it's about trying to fundamentally change what we as a culture actually value. Let's dig into how this builds into his larger mission. He calls it mimetic warfare. And it's a classic tactic from history. If you can't compete on brute strength, you compete on virtue, by flipping society's values upside down. Think about it. The meek shall inherit the earth. That was a direct challenge to the power of the rich and strong. Johnson is basically applying that same playbook to our modern culture of self-destruction.
And this right here, this is the cultural battleground he's targeting. Right now, sleeping 4 hours a night to grind is seen as high status. It's a weird badge of honor. Johnson's argument is basically, sure, go ahead and brag about your 4 hours of sleep, but just know your body has shut down its sexual function because of it. He's trying to make self-destruction low status and make peak biological function the ultimate flex.
So what's the end game here? It's simple. The entire point of this mimetic war is to make the idea that you should sacrifice your health for power, money, or status completely unfashionable. But here's the twist. This whole cultural battle, it's just a vehicle for a much, much bigger idea. This isn't really about getting better sleep or even living a bit longer. From the very beginning, the entire project has been about one thing: preparing humanity for the age of AI.
Now this is the core problem Johnson is trying to solve. Our technology is just evolving way faster than our biology can keep up. He's worried that as the world changes at this exponential rate, the gap between our high-tech environment and our ancient evolutionary wiring could cause a kind of civilizational psychosis, where we as a society just collectively lose our grip. He argues that every major technological shift in history has required a new moral framework to guide us. Ancient Greece had Plato, the medieval era had Christianity, and the modern world has capitalism. He believes that the coming age of AI demands the next evolution in how we think about morality itself.
And what is that new philosophy? It's shockingly simple. Don't die. His thinking is that when you're on the verge of creating superintelligence, the single most important virtue becomes existence itself. It's a simple, stable foundation to cling to when everything else, our jobs, our identities, our purpose, gets thrown into absolute chaos.
And this completely reframes the entire protocol, doesn't it? It's not about looking younger or living forever for selfish reasons. It's a project to create personal stability as a model for creating societal stability. Your health suddenly becomes this contribution to the future of the human species.
Okay, so that's the grand, sweeping philosophy. But how do you actually apply any of this? Let's bring it all back down to earth with a practical blueprint, pulling out the most critical, high-impact actions from Johnson's very, very complex system.
The absolute #1 priority, hands down, is sleep. Why? Because according to Johnson, poor sleep completely destroys your willpower. And without willpower, you can't make any other meaningful changes in your life. So before you even think about diet or exercise, you have to master your sleep.
And here's the process. The whole goal is just to lower your resting heart rate before bed. First up, stop eating at least 4 hours before you sleep. Second, no screens for that final hour. During that hour, switch your lights at home to red or amber light and start a wind-down routine. Read a book, talk with someone, meditate. And finally, cut off all caffeine around noon. They're simple rules, but they are profoundly effective.
Now, when it comes to tackling bad habits, Johnson has one powerful and kind of counterintuitive rule. None is better than some. The whole idea of everything in moderation is, in his view, just a clever way we rationalize letting our bad habits stick around. For things that are truly bad for you, the easiest path forward is just total elimination, not moderation.
So, if we boil it all down, here's the game plan. First, you master your sleep to build up a surplus of willpower. Second, you use that newfound willpower to lock in a consistent exercise routine. Third, once you have that momentum going, then you can tackle the hardest part, your food. And finally, and this is key, do less. Most wellness trends are just noise. Focus on these few foundational pillars and you'll get almost all of the results.
Which brings us right back to that central crazy idea. In a world of accelerating chaos, when our very identities might be up for grabs, Johnson is proposing that the most radical, most important, and most stabilizing thing we can do is to simply focus our lives around one goal: don't die. So, is he right? Is the ultimate life hack just not dying?
I'm Serena, and this is Protocol 24/7, Biohacking, Beyond the Hype. On this channel, we cut through the noise to bring you the actual science of human optimization. We focus on AI-driven diagnostics, epigenetic mastery, and the technologies truly extending health span right now. We don't follow the crowd. We master our biology with the precision of an engineer. Subscribe now, and let's build the future of your health together. Welcome to the next level.